Hey travelers, Mag and Skeletor 10 here on day 23 of our trip across the US. We're currently shooting from East Boston Piers Park, looking into the city. Unfortunately, there are no dogs allowed in the park, so Aichan's waiting it out while Skeletor 10 and I shoot. Today is going to be a little bit different than the other days. It's really just a travel day. We're going to be getting Skeletor 10 out at the airport back to Florida, and then we're going to go start on our way into New York to get staged for tomorrow's starting place. So not a lot on the agenda, don't see a lot of footage coming up here. Skeletor 10 has a couple hours before his flight and has asked me to take him and chauffeur him around Boston. Fortunately, I happen to be very familiar with the area after spending a couple of days there. So I agreed to taking him around town. But in exchange, he agreed to a little bit of an interview before he heads out the door. So, Skeletor 10, you've been geocaching a pretty long time. How long have you been geocaching?
I created my account in 2008, but I think I found my first geocache maybe a couple of months after that. So that would have been October 2008, Christmas 2008.
So 15 years in the game.
Yeah, about 15 years or so.
And how many finds do you have and over how many states and countries?
I am a little bit behind on logging, but somewhere in the neighborhood of about 19,000 finds across all 50 states and 11 countries.
So he's really been around playing this game. And what kind of places has geocaching brought you that you've really had an appreciation for playing the game?
Well, I'll tell you, it started off in the woods because my first 500 finds were in Walmart parking lots and Target parking lots, and it wasn't until I actually went out and got on the trails and realized that it could take you to a lot of places. And the goal for me was always just it gave me something to do to get off the couch, and now it's how I travel. I travel basically with geocaching in mind.
What is your favorite geocache pin?
Instead of my favorite cache, maybe my favorite cities to cache in.
Okay.
My favorite cities to cache in were Minneapolis. Minneapolis was great. I really liked San Diego, even though it was a little busy, but caching there was amazing. And a place like here in Boston, where virtuals are everywhere. It requires a lot of walking. It's not car friendly, but there's places that you're gonna see as a result of geocaching is second level.
And my friend, you're gonna love having a driver around Boston because that's gonna make it so much easier to see the places you want to see.
That's true.
So we've been on the road together a pretty long time now.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you would say stick out in your memory about geocaching with Mag Planner?
Well, I tell everybody this story, and that is when I met this guy at an event, and he invited me to go off caching with him in South Carolina. And I'm like, sure, yeah, do it. Let's set it up, thinking that he's never going to respond to that. A couple of weeks later, I get an email from him and say, hey, that trip's on. You in or you're out? So I decided to go in, and the first thing comes to my mind is, okay, we're leaving at 6. So we must be going straight to the hotel. And when I realized we're not going straight to the hotel, I asked him, I said, we're not going in the woods, right? And we're not going caching at night, right? And his response is, sure. We're not going into the woods. And we're not gonna go caching at night. Don't be ridiculous. The very first cache we stop at is in the woods at night. So that's when I realized this is gonna be a different kind of trip, but it really opened up my range of geocaching, and it kind of made me the cacher that I am today. I wouldn't be if I never had that experience. So I thank him for that, and although I wasn't very happy with him at the time.
And he's come a long way too. We were faced with finishing, which state was it? Alabama's county challenge final, and it was a half a mile straight across the lake in a boat, or it was 6 miles round, maybe?
Yeah, it was 6 miles. It was 6 miles round trip if we wanted to walk, but it was only a mile round trip if we took the canoe.
And Skeletor 10 picked up a paddle and said, let's do it.
That's right. There's no 6 mile round trip walking.
So we've definitely had a lot of adventures together on the road, and it's been a pretty good time. It's been fantastic having Skeletor 10 here. So thank you for joining me the last week. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciated having you.
Anytime. I'm always willing to go.
All right, and then we've got a surprise coming for you this evening. And Skeletor 10, let's go check out Boston.
Yes, sir.
One more time. What's it been like this week getting I-10 to share the seat with you?
It's been mildly annoying.
Does she continue to jump in your seat?
All the time. No sooner than I get out the seat and close the door, she's in it.
We cannot emphasize enough that they do not want dogs in this park. No, no, no. We got our morning started off at the East Boston Piers Park. This park was designed to reclaim a condemned industrial pier for recreational use for the community. Although we didn't get to do many geocaches today, it was great to start off with a virtual like this. Following a walk through the gazebo, you're rewarded with a view out over the city from the end of the pier. I've seen the Boston skyline from many angles over the last couple of weeks, but I'm not sure anywhere holds a candle to the view you get here at the East Boston Piers Park. With the buildings directly across the water, they feel almost close enough to reach out and touch. If I could only make one find for the day, this is the one that I'd pick. Fortunately, we finished up all of the virtuals with Skeletor 10 in good time, so we're able to make our way over to the USS Constitution to visit Old Ironsides. The walkway to the ship is filled with these odd nose statues, a good compliment to the bulls on the other side of the river. And then that was it for my caching day, just a couple of quick targets before heading out of Boston. Well, I do believe that Ai-chan does miss Skeletor 10. She seems very happy to have her seat back. Very happy about this development. All right, travelers, that's a wrap for the day. We really didn't get all that much done today. It was a travel day for Skeletor 10. He went ahead and hopped his flight back to Florida. So we took him into downtown Boston, and I ran him through all the virtual caches. It took me about 2 days to get all those with the dog, running around the city on foot. It took us a little more than 2 hours for him to do the same thing with me driving him around. So I think it worked out pretty well. I told you earlier this morning we have a surprise in store, and we certainly do. Skeletor 10 may have left us, but we're joined by a new friend, welcoming Me-Mom. Me-Mom will be joining us for the next week while we travel around New York. We're staged right now in Hillsdale, and we're going to start on our way south, working through the counties and the pages just like we did in Maine. Unlike Maine, we're not going to have any of those backcountry days where we're out on the logging roads here and the banjo's playing. It should be a pretty smooth schedule. We've got the days planned out just right, and everything is well within Ai-chan's capacity, so I don't think Me-Mom's going to ride on it. But we never know. There could be a ride in the future. We'll see. So, Me-Mom, thank you for joining us.
Looking forward to it.
We got some of Skeletor 10 stats this morning, so just so the people out there know who we're working with. How many geocaches have you found in your career?
Little over 26,000.
26,000, and that's over 15 years of caching?
About
now?
15 years.
And how many states have you found caches in?
All 50 states.
All 50
and over
states.
a third of the counties. And I'm hoping to get more counties on this trip.
We're definitely going to be finding more counties on this trip. So stay tuned with us. We're going to have a whole week in New York. We're going to have a lot to see ahead of us. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and looking forward to seeing what's next on the trails.